Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality back with you here today to go over an article that you're probably going to say, oh look, it's just another day that ends in Y, but it's about NPR and their stupidity. And I actually have not read this article yet, but I just saw the title of it, and being someone who is probably in a situation like this at some point in my life, or at a lot of points in my life, I thought it'd be something I'd want to talk about. So from Outkick, we have NPR show claims racist thin privilege demonizes fat black and brown bodies. You know, okay, let's see what those idiots over at NPR have to say. And by the way, defund NPR. It says, if you are not a fat slob, oh, I'm sorry, I should have said it's from April 27th. I apologize. It says, if you are not a fat slob, then you are perhaps unbeknownst to your own privilege, your racist thin privilege, that is. Virginia Soul Smith is the author of Fat Talk. That sounds like a pleasant show. She sympathizes with fat people by trade, and she claims white supremacy is the root of their suffering. Of course, because to these people, everything is. It's not an actual thing. It's just this nebulous concept that they can just blame for everything that's wrong in their lives, instead of going, oh, maybe it's because I eat like crap and I don't exercise. I would know this because that used to be me. So, yeah, let's see what else she has to say, what else she's going to blame on this nebulous concept. It says, per her fat analysis, thin privilege is a byproduct of white privilege and it must be stopped immediately. And I was quite literally just about to say this next line here, the wait what? Like, okay, let's see. Let's have this lady break all of our brains simultaneously here. So, she says, thin privilege is a concept that I think is tricky to get our heads around. This is because if you have it, you don't really see how much you have it. Okay, so you're basically saying right off the bat that I don't really know what this is, and you don't even know that you have it. So right off the bat, we're done, and you don't know what you're talking about, lady. So she continues, says, I mean, it's a lot like white privilege. It's not, in a way, in that way, because you don't see how much it's benefiting you, she said. Okay, so is this Kamala talking? Like, this is just a bunch of, like, word salad. That's all it is. So she goes on, she says, yeah, I mean, the thin ideal is definitely a white ideal. No, it's absolutely not. And how you could even think that means that your mind has been so warped by what Elon Musk calls the woke mind virus that you don't know which way is up or down. This is definitely not a white thing. So just knock that crap off. You have no credibility by this point. Let's see how much further down into the negative credibility you could possibly go with. What else you got to say? So she goes on. When we trace the history of modern diet culture, we really trace it back in the United States to the end of slavery, and Sabrina String's book, Fearing the Black Body, is sort of, the iconic work on this that I would refer people to. Okay, I'm going to stop there and say, like, okay, so she's a leftist, so naturally everything goes back to the Civil War. Like, it's as if history began then. Okay, so nothing happened before then. Okay, and I don't know this Sabrina Strings. I don't know this book. Never heard of it until this moment right now, talking to you. But, okay, let's just keep going. It says, but her research talks about how as slavery ended, black people gained rights. Okay, obviously white supremacy is trying to maintain the power structure. Well, that was not everywhere. You realize that, right? That was in the South, and even then it wasn't like everybody there. But anyway, so celebrating a thin white body as the ideal body is a way to other and demonize black and brown bodies, bigger bodies, anyone who doesn't fit into that norm. Okay, so the article goes on. Come on, computer, work with me here. It says, got all that? This is the white chick. Says celebrate. Oh, she's white. Okay. I didn't think she was. Okay, but all right. The white chick says celebrating a thin white body is the ideal body is a way to other and demonize black and brown bodies, bigger bodies. No, anybody can be thin. Anybody can be fat. Like, your race has absolutely nothing to do with that. Okay, and if you're looking at a thin white person and saying that person is attractive, that doesn't demonize anybody else. You can certainly look at other people and say, yes, they're attractive too. This isn't like a difficult thing to wrap your mind around. This is so stupid. I feel like I'm actually getting dumber reading this. Article goes on and says, but just as responsible for thin privilege is the patriarchy. Of course it is, because, there's that other nebulous concept that nobody seems to be able to define. That's just a thing that exists to blame everything on. Okay. It says this is really about maintaining systems of white supremacy and patriarchy. Okay, which I think is very helpful to understand. Okay, but you don't even understand it. It's like, I think a lot of us are really working to divest from those ideas. but we haven't given ourselves permission to stop dieting or to accept our weight wherever it might fall. What do you mean you haven't given yourselves permission to stop dieting? You just, like, that just doesn't make what? Okay. And if you can understand that actually by continuing to pursue thinness, you're in some level maintaining your complicity with white supremacy and patriarchy. God, I want to use a lot more curse words on this person. This is a stupid human being. And of course the article says, damn the patriarchy. But this is where I'm going to jump in and say, okay, you pursue thinness because you generally are healthier if you're thinner. These are people that they want you to be fat because they just want you to be able to accept just that you're okay as you are. It's an extension of just the you're perfect the way you are sort of thought, which is just, oh no, if you're like a morbidly obese person, you're just fine that way, even though, you know, you may have severe hypertension and blood pressure problems, you know, and a myriad amount of other things like diabetes, but whatever. And I could say this because I was that person at one point, as I alluded to at the beginning of the article. I had gastric bypass surgery almost 5 years ago. Okay, because I had those things. I was considered morbidly obese, though I didn't maybe necessarily look it, but I was considered morbidly obese. I did have hypertension and had to take medication for it. I was diagnosed actually on my 37th birthday with type 2 diabetes. Took a lot of medications for that. Had to do the whole sticking the needle in your finger every day to, you know, see what your blood sugar was. I had to do that. And then the gastric bypass surgery essentially saved my life because I just couldn't control myself in terms of food. I just kind of was like, nah, I'll get around to exercising eventually. The food's not going to do it. The food's the problem. Okay. I mean, you need to eat better. And these people are just like, nah, I'm just going to go ahead and just be a fat ass forever. And it's everybody else's fault that I'm this way. No, it's entirely you. It's your fault. Okay, the way I was nobody's fault but mine. Okay, I did that to myself. Okay, so get up off your ass and just start moving. Just get up and walk. That's all you need to do is to start there and then start eating healthier. Okay, you don't need to eat fast food 5 days of the week. Yes, I was there at one point. It was bad. Okay, so again, I have first-person experience here. So article continues, says fat persons have risen near the top of the hierarchy of victimhood, yeah, somewhere just below trans women. Says journalists are still reeling from The Whale, winning an Academy Award in March. That was actually a really good movie. I'm a fan of Darren Aronofsky, who is the director. So I did buy the movie and watch it, and I liked it. So, and Brendan Fraser, of course, he deserved the award for that. It says media buffoons say the film made use of fat appropriation, which is not a thing. Said the apparent phrase for non-fat people who portray fat people in film, again, not a thing. It says fat face is real and it's dangerous, warns the press. Elsewhere, an MSNBC column, because of course we're going to go to that bastion of everything sane, MSNBC, that's sarcasm, people, recently suggested that physical fitness itself could be traced back to, wait for it, a certain group of German people from a certain world war from the 40s. Right. So the quote here says, physical fitness has always been central to the far right. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, it's not. Okay. Like, first of all, these people probably couldn't define what far right actually is. Okay. And I hate to break it to you, person who wrote this, that particular group of Germans from World War II were not far right. You got it completely backwards. They were open socialists. They were far left, actually. Okay. So the quote from MSNBC continues, says, in Mein Kampf, funny mustache guy fixated on boxing and jiu-jitsu, believing they could help him create an army of millions whose aggressive spirit and impeccably trained bodies combined with fanatical love of the fatherland would do more for the German nation than any other mediocre tactical weapons training, MSNBC columnist Cynthia Miller-Idris wrote. Well, Cynthia Miller-Idris, you are a stupid human being. The argument that she's using here is Hitler owned a dog. You have a dog. So I guess that means you're Hitler. That's basically her argument right here. The Nazis did physical fitness. You do physical fitness. So you must be a Nazi. That's not how any of this works. And if that's as far as your logic, and I use bunny ears around that word, goes, then you're not a thinker at all. Like you honestly, you can't think, and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So to finish up this article, it says, now a character who writes about being fat appeared on NPR to declare thinness a privilege deeply rooted in racism. We live in the dumbest of times. Yep, that is 100% correct. And let's see here. Yes. Okay, so some comments on it, but yeah, this is just stupid. Okay, you want to be healthy, get out and move, eat right. Okay, don't do all the crap that I did that led me to having to have gastric bypass surgery, and you'll be fine. Okay, don't listen to these people. If you're someone that's overweight, okay, and you need help, say there are people out there that can help you. All you're doing by being morbidly obese is reducing your lifespan. Okay, the normal age of of an American man or woman is something like what, in the low to mid 80s, somewhere in there. I know women are a few years more than the men, but it's somewhere like what, late 70s, early 80s, somewhere in that area. So it's a long time. Okay, and if you are one of these folks that's morbidly obese, first of all, you don't see any morbidly obese old people, do you? The answer to that is no, you don't, because they all die. So, like, really young. And if you're morbidly obese, okay, you've probably got until maybe your 40s. Okay, you're cutting your life ostensibly in half. Okay, if you're going to be morbidly obese. And if that's the way you want to go, I mean, your life is your decision, but this is a problem that you can fix. Okay, it's very easy to fix. I unfortunately waited too long, which is why I had the surgery. It's not a catch-all for everybody, but you can do it on your own. Okay, so yeah, this kind of stuff pisses me off. These people that are just trying, this is why I want to read the article, these people that are trying to normalize things that should not be normalized because they are bad and they are unhealthy. Okay, it has nothing to do with white privilege or the patriarchy or anything like that. It's just you're a lazy ass that just doesn't want to change, and you're blaming nebulous concepts that you probably can't define to explain why you just don't want to change. That's it. That's all it is. So anyway, I'm going to stop ranting right now before I just kind of keep going on and on and on. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.